everything started to flow, and everything turned around like I could not ever have imagined. And after that, I decided, I was also writing for some health platforms at that stage as well to help others who were living with similar illnesses. I said to Chris, you know, some of these blogs could be developed into short stories. Maybe it's time that I started to write a book and put together a book, which I did. It took another 8 years, but I did it. And that book was ready. But also I wasn't ready for it to go out there in those 8 years. And that first book, Tales from Turkey, in my pen name, was launched. 2013, remember it so well. I had been this lady who'd been living in the dark all those years, 17 years in the dark, in the wilderness. And suddenly, I'm catapulted onto a stage. It had a little podium in front of, I think, 140 people. And I had to deliver a talk. Well, I'll be honest, I went into a little room about 45 minutes before and went into total meltdown. But somehow I delivered. And then I went back into my writing cave. And I thought maybe it's time that Miriam stood in her light and started to write her book in her name. And that's what I did. And then 8 months later, I met my new publisher and we signed a contract. And in June 2015, Shattered Dreams and Scorpions at Midnight, A Search for Sanctuary, was launched. And that followed 6 months later with my first ever pocketbook, Shattered Dreams and Scorpions at Midnight. Blank, a pocket full of inspiration. Apologies. Since then, I never for one moment thought that I would be keynote speaking. I write regular blogs. Obviously, my website's interactive. I have a YouTube channel. And we continue to develop this new career. I found my heart. I found my passion. And the opportunity at this stage of my life, I have grabbed it. But don't get me wrong. There have been moments when I've thought, what the hell am I doing? Because I've had blips. And I thought, you know, I only set out to write and have one book published. And here am I now on my fourth. And my fourth book is actually my first steps into writing a novel. And I'm now actually writing that second draft. And the working title is Girl Who Lived in the Dark. But it's not about me. It's about another character in the book that I come across who refuses to change, who gathers all these people around them in the name of friendship, but actually she does not want to change. She just wants to sit where she is. And we all know that life changes irrevocably. Whether we want it or not, it's so important to embrace change. And we can all learn new ways of doing things. I'm very lucky in that. The first 2 years, I juggled everything on my own. Crazy. Liz White of Whiteword Media joined me 2 years ago. She's my publicist and an absolutely essential part of what I do now. Chris, couldn't do us without him. He has always been a tremendous support and has earned that title of superhero. And last year he came on board as my brand manager. I was saying to you earlier, Emma, he's now been promoted to brand director because he directs my podcasting. This is something else I'm developing this year. The one thing that I learned, having been away from business for 17 years, yes, I supported Chris and his businesses, but it was very much in the background. I had to learn so fast how things were done. I had to jump on that saddle and learn. Now, the life of a writer as well is very different to what it was even 10 years ago. And I describe it as that wheel with a lot of spokes. And yes, probably half of those spokes, it's about writing. And when I'm writing, I'm in that cave, in silence. I don't like to be disturbed. And I just immerse myself in the characters, whatever it is, whether I'm in Turkey or here. That's it. Time passes. But I still have to adhere to a very, very strict routine. Mornings are my best time to write. But I don't just get up and rush in. It's very much still about having that power breakfast to focus and have that inspiration to write. I will take breaks, you know, and if Chris knocks on the door, he's very welcome as long as he's got a green tea in his hand. And I take walks. I do yoga, Pilates now, whereas before it was always, you know, the really active, aerobic workouts. Now it's about balancing, about staying calm. It really is about keeping that balance. And it's not always about doing. Sometimes it's simply about being. But social media is, I didn't know what social media was 5 years ago, no, 6 years ago. But I started, and step by step by step, I know now what works for me. That doesn't mean to say I'm not going to embrace any new platforms that appear, but also having an interactive visual website, so important. Great headshots, all of those things, they are all part of a writer's life. And you have to come out of the cave. How else will people know that you're great writers or that you're unique in the skills that you have as being creatives or in business? You have to come out of the cave. Whether that's speaking events, book signings, media events, whatever it is, you have to do that now. And it has been relentless. But oh my goodness me, I'm not giving up yet. There's still so much to do. And I would say to each of you, which you're probably already doing way before me and probably doing very, very well, is that when you have a strategy in place, when you have that plan, it is so important to action it. But also, as we were saying, to have gaps in between. Don't try and crowd it all in, because then you can be spontaneous, but then you can also take that precious time out for you. Because if you're not giving to you, how can you give to anyone else? And focus on that plan, have that vision, because I promise you, it will flow, it will change. I was speaking to some teenagers last week and I said to them, #dream and #dream big, because when you focus on something, it will happen and dreams do come true. And finally, never ever give up hope. Even if it's a long tunnel and you see that little glimmer, move, crawl, walk towards it. Because I guarantee you that light will completely open up. And we all deserve to follow our hearts, follow our passions, to have fun and enjoy everything that we do. Life's very short. Thank you, each of you, for listening today. I'm honored. And if anyone has any questions, please, I'm here.